First, you have to deal with the injury, then the surgery, and then the whole rehab process, which is grueling. I mean, it's grueling. You have to do everything right, or you're gonna have major setbacks. And for the last 3 or 4 months, I've been fine. I got past that part, and then here we hit a snag in the business side, where I'm physically fine. I'm building my fans up for the return, and then all of a sudden, nothing, because we have these issues internally going on, and that was frustrating. But like you said, man, this is when the things that you talk about, the things that you preach, you have to live them out. And you know, I had to turn to God and buckle down, man, and stay prayerful and stay, you know, just even my church family and just people, my Pastor Napoleon Kaufman, my wife, like certain people, you know, just held me down during this time, because it's tough. You don't have a bunch of fans cheering you on. You don't have these cameras. There's no fight coming up. So you have to find a resolve somewhere, and I found it in my faith in God, and I found it in my family and the people that were around me. But again, I don't look at that like it's a bad thing. That's part of what makes me me, and that you're going to see all of that November 16th. Like Lou's talking about motivation, and don't get me wrong, Edwin has a tremendous story, him and his wife, and that's motivation, something I don't know about. But I have my own set of motivations, certain things that maybe I liked or didn't like that went on in these negotiations. It's not personal, but I have to pull from that fuels me. A lot of people say, oh, you look really slim, you look trim. I've been working. I haven't been sitting around feeling sorry for myself, getting 20 pounds. I've been living like a fighter, living like a professional athlete, because I knew at some point these negotiations are going to get finished, and then we're going to get the call. And this got solidified maybe 2 weeks ago. So just think if I wasn't training, and then all of a sudden we get a 9-week call, we could probably get in shape, but I wouldn't be at my best. I'm ready now. I got a foundation. Now we just got to build on and step it up. We're going to be ready to go.
We got one more question. After the commentators got to
and more or less, you know, what was promised on your part, and do you have an option if, you know, those promises aren't met, that you could go and seek other representation?
No, it's just, I just know what I've accomplished in this sport, and it's hard for me to talk about myself, or I'm not going to brag about myself. I try to stay I try to be a realist. I try to be a realist, but I know what I've accomplished. I know what I've accomplished, and I feel like I know what I deserve, and I know what he's accomplished. He doesn't have a title. He's coming off of the Super 4, whatever it was called, tournament. He's got to, you know, come off a big, but the credentials aren't there to demand what you're demanding. So I'm not one of those fighters that just says, hey, what's the number? Okay, I'll accept that, let's go fight. I understand that I'm one injury away from things being over. You're one loss away from these cameras not being here. I understand that. I know what the work that I put in the body of work that I put in the last 3 years, so I know what I should get. And when that's not happening, then I have to put my business hat on. I got to sit down with my manager, James Prince, and I got to say, man, let's figure this out. And I take my hat off to James Prince, man. He helped me navigate through this season personally, but then also from a business standpoint. That man is wise, man, and patient. Because a lot of times, man, I want to call him and let's say this, and he said, listen, man, let's get this play out. Let's do this, let's do that. So I had great representation. I learned a lot in this season, and this is part of the sport. This is nothing I'm going through from an injury standpoint, a business standpoint, you know, even issues with my promoter. Nothing I'm going through is something that other champions haven't gone through. So I accept it. It's not fun, it's not easy, but this is part of my story.